Okay, hey guys, today I have a new video for you. Today we're going to be talking about dragons and specifically delaying dragons. So the first dragon we have is the Chemtech dragon and the second is the Cloud dragon. These two dragons are very controversial, mainly because their souls suck dick. Now that's what we're going to be talking about. Delaying taking the soul because you are now going to delay taking the elder or spawning the elder rather. Because if you have these souls and we spawn the elder, it now becomes an elder flip where you have a soul which does not help you in a fight. And that's what we want to avoid. You don't want to have this elder flip with a really shit soul. Okay, so let's go through the dragons first. So Chemtech, obviously you get your tenacity and healing shield power on your stacks. This is not really useful for many champions, but it is nice into certain comps. And then the soul is a very conditional one, where it only works if you're below 50% HP, which is a pretty shit condition considering if you get chunked out and poked out, you're not going to enter the fight. So if you're getting poked out, you don't want to enter the fight, your soul has done absolutely nothing. Also, if you take significantly big chunks, something like a 1k barrel from GP, it takes you from 90% down to 30%. The soul didn't help at all. And then we have Cloud, which just gives you lots of movement speed and slow resist. And then when you ult with the soul, you run around really fast. Is that going to help you in a fight? Maybe if you are Rammus or Hecarim, but for most champions, it doesn't really help you in a fight because it doesn't translate to damage. It's not going to help you in combat. You're not going to win a fight. And ultimately, if you want to win a game, you need to win a fight. 99.9% of the time, there's going to be a fight. You're going to get an Elder, you're going to get a Baron, you're going to get towers. That is how you win the game. You need to win a fight. Normally, this fight will be a 5v5, but it can be broken up. You can have a 4v4, 3v3s, small skirmishes, but ultimately, you're going to be fighting. And in these fights, you don't want the Chemtech or Cloud Soul. You want the other four. The other four are so much more impactful. Okay, so this one is going to be talking about, is it worth to delay taking the soul or even not taking the soul to stop the elder spawning? So go along with me in this thought. So if you are winning the game and you can take the soul, you might think, great, okay, we have the soul, we can win some fights, we'll get the Baron, we can take the elder, we'll win in the game, we can win the game. Okay, that's great, works in an ideal world. But I want to propose this idea that once you take the soul, you are now started a 5-minute timer. You have put 5 minutes on the clock where you have said you need to win the game or be in a position where the enemy cannot contest the Elder in 5 minutes. Now, is that reasonable? Well, yes and no. It depends how early you are taking this soul. If you're taking the soul at 25 minutes in the game, are you going to end before 30? You need a very substantial lead. If you're taking the soul at like 35 minutes, are you going to end the game before 40 minutes? Yeah, maybe if you get a soul at 35, any sort of Baron around there, you're probably going to end the game. So it depends when this is in the game. And one thing I have here is something I would love to see is the win rate for teams with a soul if there is an elder taken in the game. So what does this mean? I want to see the win rate of a team with each of the souls. So let's say one team has Infernal Soul and there's an elder on the map. What percentage of the time do they get that elder? You would assume it'd be somewhere in like the 70s, 80s, 90s. They have a soul to win in the game, you're more likely to get the elder. But based on what I'm seeing early in this season, in the slower regions, something like the LCK or the PCS, the game becomes very stagnant, very slow. Teams don't know how to end. There's also wave clear. Everyone's very risk adverse, and you just get this slow game where they're just, okay, we spawn the elder, we're just gonna flip it and hope that we win because we've got a good soul to fight. But what happens if you don't have a good soul to fight? So I would love to see this data. Maybe it shows that Chemtech and Cloud Soul are not useful in capturing the elder. Hypothetically, you have an early game comp. They have an Elise, Heimerdinger, there's a Varus. You want to end the game fast. That's why you want to have this early prior bot, stack dragons, end the game fast. Understandable. But what happens if you have the really bad soul spawn? Maybe you just don't take it. You don't want to get in this situation where there's an elder. But you could also argue they need the elder to end the game. If it goes later and it gets dragged out, they're doomed anyway. Which I can see, and that's a fair argument. This video is more of like invitation to discussion. I'm not saying this is absolutely true, but I think for certain comps it is. Now with an early game comp, let's say you have like an Elise, and a Kalista, maybe you just take the flip at Elder, right? But the later the game goes, it's just doomed, no matter what. Even if you have a lead, you just can't end the game. Your siege sucks. There's no way for you to end the game with a Baron. You need an Elder. In those situations, yeah, I can see it. But in many of these games, they will just flip the Elder and lose the game. So in this game, KT did absolutely nothing before. They flip an Elder, they take the Elder, they take the Baron, and they end the game. Oh wait, did they even take the Baron? Yeah. They take Elder, they take Baron, they end the game. All within a couple minutes. Does that seem fair? No, of course it's not fair, but what could have broke them? So 5 minutes ago, or not even 5, 6, 7 minutes ago, 23 minutes so early. What I'm suggesting is we delay taking this soul. Also, moving on to our next point, you want to desync the spawning of Elder and Baron. This is a very important thing if you are in a winning position, I think. Because let's say there is an Elder flip, you lose the Elder flip. Okay, shit happens. But now the Baron is also up, and they get both. And you just lose the game automatically. Whereas if you get the Elder, you get the Baron, and you can win the game. So it's a positive in that regard. But if you're winning the game and you lose Elder, just let the Elder expire. They don't end the game. Great. There was no Baron. And now the map is reset and there's a Baron on the map. So I think that is also something we could consider is desyncing them. Obviously syncing them works great if you can get both, but if you lose both, you just lose the game. So I think maybe there's something there where you can help to desync them. Now in this scenario, they push KT out, they get a chunk, and they finish the dragon here. What I'm suggesting is they just leave the dragon here. They just go straight to the Baron. You've already chunked out the jungler. They've used some ultimates. You can just go straight to the Baron. I think you can go take the Baron. You can make a play on the map with your Baron. If they take the dragon, sure, KT get one Chemtech. Cool, good for them. And you can use your Baron to push out onto the map, take some towers, get a huge gold lead. Then you can take your soul if you want later in the game, or you can just keep delaying it, never take it. And then you play on your next Baron, which will come up around 30 minutes, and there's no Elder. And you have a huge lead from taking all these towers. There's a Baron on the map which you can play around. You have really good Baron DPS. And you can end the game like that. You can bring them into a fight. Where if you lose that Baron, you didn't lose the Elder. The game's not completely over. Okay, so it's less of a if you lose this fight, you lose the game scenario. It gives you an extra lifeline. Whereas if you spawn Elder, you lose that one fight, game's over. Okay, next example. So we had the game last night from Vitality and XL. Again, a Cloud Soul. XL, they got their Cloud Soul. Did it help them win the game? No. They had 6k lead. What were they able to generate with their Cloud Soul? They win the fight before they even kill it. Okay? There's 3 people dead? 3 people dead. 3 people dead before they kill the Cloud Soul. 24 minutes in the game. Is this going to help you win the game? So I think XL, they could just drop Cloud here, go Baron, play on the map, and get that lead. So this is a 2k lead. And with that Baron, how much of a lead do they get? Okay, they got 2k gold. They've extended it to a 5k lead. Great, they got a 5k lead. Imagine you have this 5k lead, and there's no Elder coming up soon. You can then play on the next Baron with a 5k lead, and potentially take that fight. And if you lose it, the game's not over. So Slayer steals the Baron with a Q, because you know, that's a normal thing to happen, right? And then the game's just over. They lose one fight, they lose the majority of their gold lead. Baron spawned at the same time. Wow, would you look at that? It's synced up. Vitality. Take the Baron. Elder. You just lose the game. Just like that. I mean, the game did get dragged out quite long. This game was an absolute fiesta. Just kept going back and forth. Normally, if you have an Elder and a Baron, the game should be over. And Vitality probably could have ended way back then. But they made some mistakes. But that's not really about Frank and PSG. So in the mid lane, they just took a fight. They killed 3 people and they're going to the Baron at 24 minutes in the game. Okay, it's fine. There's a Cloud on the map. Now this is where there is bounty gold. So I think in these scenarios, you do need to discourage the other team. You don't want to give up free bounty gold. Giving up gold is completely different to delaying taking a dragon, in my opinion. Now this comp has a Kalista, so yeah, it probably does get outscaled. So getting an Elder on the map for FAK would be good for them, right? They can end the game faster. They need to end the game faster. They don't want it going too late. But I mean, if you look at the rest of the comp, top is okay, jungle outscales, mid is even. It's not completely unplayable, but is Kawsal going to help them in a fight? No, it's going to help maybe Maokai Asante. And the other three, not really. So it's not a hugely impactful soul. Is it going to help them end the game? No, in my opinion. What they do is actually okay. They don't instantly take the dragon. They reset after Nash. They come out onto the map. It's been delayed a little bit, but I think it's not been delayed. I think they could have pushed their 3 lanes. There's lots of towers to take, and then they can come back to the dragon, capture the soul, and now they've offset the Elder and Baron for later. And also, you've just delayed taking it and used more of your Baron time. Using like the 10, 15, 30 seconds, whatever, to take the soul is a waste of time. You can come out onto the map, do things. There's a tier 1 top, 25 minutes in the game. Way too late to be taking this. I mean, he just takes the bottom tier 1, although he doesn't take the local gold because he's trolling. So they only had 1 tower in mid, and that was it. This Baron should be taking 5 towers instantly, and then you can take the dragon, and you have this huge desync, because you don't want an Elder coming on the map. Because once you take all these towers, it's already a 5k lead. Take 5 towers, you're probably gonna have an 8, 9k lead. 8, 9k lead going into the next Baron. You should win that fight, but if you don't, okay, you lost Baron, you might have like maybe a 3,000 gold lead or something. And then there's an Elder coming up. The game's not completely lost. So that's my kind of premise in all of this is it worth taking these dragons and these souls, which now spawn an Elder, where you can lose the game on a flip? And the second part is just delay it. What's the point in syncing them up where if you lose one fight, you just instantly lose the game? Are they going to help you win a fight to end the game? No. So that's kind of everything that I wanted to talk about. I'll probably chop up this video so it's a bit shorter, but I'm happy to discuss this. It's not really a big, okay, let's 100% do this. I'm kind of open to the discussion. I want to see what other people say. I want to see what I'm missing. But yeah, thanks for listening.